What Happened Tragedy, Larry Ellison. Larry Ellison, from an abandoned child to the world's richest billionaire, is a story both dazzling and tragic. Born in 1944, he was given away by his mother at just 9 months old. Growing up in a poor family in Chicago, his cold adoptive father often told him he would never amount to anything. Those harsh words ignited in Ellison a burning need to prove everything. With nothing but grit, he founded Oracle and turned it into a global data empire. He publicly confronted Bill Gates, becoming the cowboy of Silicon Valley with a brazen, risk-taking style. But behind the spotlight was darkness, an accounting scandal that sent Oracle's stock crashing, accusations of dirty tactics. Yet Ellison didn't fall. In the era of cloud computing, he led Oracle's resurgence, surpassing Elon Musk and Bernard Arnault to reclaim the title of the world's richest man. And in his twilight years, the world was stunned when he married a wife 47 years younger than him. An abandoned child, an arrogant genius, a symbol of power wrapped in tragedy. He once stood at the Part 1, Roots of a Giant. Larry Ellison was born on the 17th of August, 1944, in New York City, under circumstances that foreshadowed coming tragedies. His mother, Florence Spellman, was only 19, unmarried, without money, and unable to raise a newborn amid the hardships following World War II. His biological father, an Italian-American military pilot, disappeared as soon as he learned Florence was pregnant. Baby Larry never once. When Larry was just 9 months old, Florence took him to Chicago and knocked on the door of her aunt's small house. She handed the baby to her sister and her sister's husband, Louis and Lillian Ellison, and then quietly vanished from her son's life. From then on, the boy bore the surname Ellison, growing up in a household not necessarily. Louis Ellison, Larry's adoptive father, was an unemployed former railroad guard. He was notoriously hot-tempered and conservative and constantly told the boy, "You'll never amount to anything. You lack discipline. You're not smart enough. There's nothing to be proud of." Those words stabbed into the heart of a child, desperate for recognition. Lillian, his adoptive mother, Larry's childhood was a string of days without affection. He grew up in the poor Jewish South Side of Chicago, a place where violence, discrimination, and unemployment always lurked. Every day, Ellison battled not only material hardship, but also the emotional wound of feeling like someone unwanted. At 13, another crisis nearly took his life. Larry contracted a severe case of pneumonia, so bad that doctors doubted he would survive. In that brush with death, he confronted life's finiteness for the first time. He recovered, but that near-death experience left a lasting imprint, that his time could end at any moment, that he must live fully, take risks. Later, as a billionaire, Ellison admitted that his teenage illness. At school, Ellison was bright but headstrong. He often clashed with teachers, disliked rules, and had a tendency to break them. His grades weren't bad, but he soon realized the traditional academic path wasn't for him. The only things that truly fascinated him were math. After high school, Ellison entered the University of Illinois. It was one of the few times he felt stable. He excelled in mathematics and computer engineering. But tragedy struck again. In his second year, his adoptive mother, Lillian, the only person who had shown him real affection, passed away. The shock was too great. Larry dropped out immediately, skipped finals. He transferred to the University of Chicago, but stayed only 1 quarter. There, Ellison first worked directly with a computer. In front of that cold screen, the young man found destiny. The machine didn't belittle him, didn't reject him, didn't repeat that he was useless. It simply executed exactly what he programmed. For Larry, it was liberating. With no degree and no clear direction, Larry left Chicago, driving west to California, a land roiling with fledgling tech companies. He carried 2 things, a sharp mind and a fierce hunger. Those early California years were a grind. Larry took odd jobs: technician, temp programmer, even fixing machines to get by. He had nothing remarkable besides boundless curiosity for technology and an almost blind conviction that he was born to do something great. There, among garages and tiny offices in Silicon Valley, Ellison began laying the first bricks of a giant. If a harsh childhood forged a fearless spirit, then the precarious years of youth in California taught Ellison a survival skill: dare to risk when there's nothing left to lose. That very trait would later lift him from nobody to the world's top billionaire. Part 2. The Climb to Power. When Larry Ellison arrived in California in the late 1960s, Silicon Valley was still an expanse of orchards and fledgling electronics firms. Few imagined it would become the world's tech capital. He started with small roles at Ampex, a company making data storage equipment. There, Ellison worked on a CIA database project codenamed Oracle. Even as a junior employee, he became obsessed with the concept of the relational database proposed by Edgar F. Codd, which envisioned storing, organizing, and accessing data far more flexibly than traditional systems. In the 1970 seconds, Ellison also worked at Amdahl, a maker of mainframes competing with IBM. He learned how a large tech firm operated, but more importantly, he spotted a gap. IBM had relational database research but hesitated to commercialize it. In 1977, with colleagues Bob Miner and Ed Oates, Ellison founded software development laboratories with just $1,200 from his own pocket. The office was a small rented room in Redwood City. In Ellison's mind, they named their flagship product Oracle, inspired by the CIA project Ellison had seen. The name carried ambition. Oracle would be the prophet of data. The early years were grueling. The software was immature, bugs were frequent, and customers were skeptical. But Ellison had a weapon: audacity. He often oversold capabilities, promising features that didn't yet exist to win contracts. Rivals called him a liar. To Ellison, it was survival. In 1979, the company became Relational Software Incorporated, and in 1982 officially Oracle Systems Corporation. Oracle soon landed a major contract with the U.S. Navy, a turning point that lifted it from obscurity onto the tech map and made the peak came in 1986 when Oracle went public. On day one, the valuation exploded, making Larry Ellison a billionaire. Barely a decade after leaving Chicago. But success wasn't just software. Ellison turned himself into a media figure. Onstage, he was swaggering and defiant, publicly challenging Bill Gates and Microsoft. Microsoft can dominate the PC, he quipped, but Oracle will dominate the world's data. Such declarations made him a hot press topic, praised by some. Through the 1990 seconds, Oracle surged, competing with IBM and others. Corporations, banks, and governments all needed data systems, and Oracle became the top choice. From a nobody belittled by his adoptive father, Ellison now stood shoulder to shoulder. But the climb was never smooth. Gates' shadow was immense, and Ellison's risk-taking sowed seeds for the scandals to come. Still, by the late 1980 seconds, one truth was clear. Part 3. The Price of Fame. Success put Larry Ellison on the summit and into the eye of historic storms. In tech, fame is never free, and Ellison paid dear. The 1990 accounting scandal. In 1990, Oracle faced its gravest crisis. To project nonstop growth, sales leaders were pushed to close deals at any cost. Future revenues were booked as if completed. Undelivered software counted as sold. When the fallout was brutal, Oracle's stock plunged over 80%, wiping out billions in value. Investors raged. The press dubbed it Silicon Valley's accounting bomb. Lawsuits. Ellison, once the tech cowboy, was now painted as a reckless CEO. The board even considered ousting him. For many, but Ellison didn't fold. He admitted managerial failures, overhauled accounting, and restructured Oracle. With trademark tenacity, he turned a near-fatal blow into a reset. Oracle didn't die, and Ellison proved the dumpster diving scandal. If the accounting case raised doubts about his management, the 2000 scandal exposed another side: Ellison's willingness to play dirty. As Microsoft battled a U.S. antitrust suit, Oracle, its enterprise rival, pounced. Ellison hired private investigators to rummage through trash from Microsoft-aligned groups, seeking evidence. When reporters uncovered this, public outrage exploded. A top tech billionaire, instead of denying, Ellison owned it, even boasting, "I'm proud of it. I want journalists to comb through trash if it reveals the truth about Microsoft." The remark drew heavy criticism while cementing his fear of 6 failed marriages. If Ellison's career was a string of public scandals, his private life was a quiet, bitter tragedy. He married first in the late 1962, still an unknown engineer. The short marriage ended quickly. Work consumed him. He married 5. Each marriage lasted only years, unraveling over lifestyle clashes, his constant absence for work, or irreconcilable differences. Behind every separation were huge settlements and emotional scars. Though he had 2 children, David and Megan, both very successful in Hollywood, Ellison was never seen as a warm, present father. He once admitted, "I was so obsessed with work, I didn't know how to hold on to love." Public image. American media cast Ellison as a modern Greek tragedy, a genius who could build a global software empire but fail in marriage and intimacy, a man worth billions who often appeared alone on superyachts, in palatial homes, or on Lanai Island. The richer he became, the more isolated, the more powerful, the more attacked, the more famous, the heavy. Part 4. Life after the turbulent 1990 seconds, many experts believed Oracle and Larry Ellison would soon be swallowed by rivals. They underestimated his rise from the ashes instinct. For Ellison, crisis isn't an ending, buy or be buried. Entering the 2000s, as Microsoft, SAP, and younger software firms surged, Oracle risked being left behind. Ellison's answer wasn't incremental innovation. He launched a headline-grabbing war with PeopleSoft, an 18-month saga of lawsuits and brinkmanship. Oracle prevailed, buying PeopleSoft for $10.3 billion. Next came Siebel Systems, BEA Systems, and the biggest of all, Sun Microsystems. The tech world called it buy or die. If others invented, Oracle bought. If others took market share, Oracle absorbed them. The result: Oracle was no longer just a database firm but a comprehensive software empire, from infrastructure to applications. The 2008 financial crisis. While many companies buckled, Oracle stood firm. Ellison treated the chaos as a chance to acquire bargains and grow. To him, the crisis, passion beyond business. America's Cup. Ellison didn't only fight in boardrooms. A sailing obsessive, he poured hundreds of millions into Oracle. In 2010, his team won the America's Cup, the world's most prestigious sailing prize. It wasn't just a trophy. It was a declaration that Ellison could conquer the sea as he, from CEO to king behind the curtain. In 2014, after nearly 40 years as CEO, Ellison stepped down a move many read as retreat. In reality, he still held ultimate sway as chairman, and that meant he still set core strategy, especially the pivot to cloud computing. As Amazon, Microsoft, and Google dominated, many said Oracle was too late. Ellison didn't believe in too late. He invested tens of billions in global data centers, making Oracle Cloud a choice for governments, banks, the kingdom of Lanai. In his personal life, Ellison sought something else, a kingdom of his own. In 2012, he bought 98% of Lanai in Hawaii for about $300 million. More than real estate, it was a power statement. He transformed Lanai into a living laboratory for renewable energy, organic agriculture, and community health. Under Ellison, Lanai became both a luxury paradise and a vision of sustainable society. Media called it Ellison's kingdom. Hawaiians felt conflicted, admiration for bold projects mixed with concern over one man's outsized power. Either way, Lanai became the emblem of Ellison's post-storm phase, reborn image. By the late 2010 seconds, Oracle remained among the most powerful software companies on Earth. Though no longer CEO, Ellison was its soul. His wealth soared, returning him to the top 5, then top 3 globally. More importantly, he proved he wasn't a lucky fluke, nor a calm man who survived by bluff. He was a strategist who leveraged storms, turning failures. The shocking love story of Larry Ellison. Summer. After 6 failed marriages, many believed Larry Ellison, the man who failed at keeping love, would spend his remaining years alone amid cold superyachts and palatial homes. But Ellison, in old age, in his 70s to 80s, he appeared publicly with a youthful, beautiful partner, nearly half a century younger. News of his remarriage became a sensation. The media called it a romance beyond imagination, a love story. For many, it proved that Ellison, despite 6 failed marriages, still longed for a safe harbor. They saw it as a reminder that it's never too late to begin again. But critics called it a display of power and money, arguing ignoring speculation. Ellison lived with his young wife on Lanai, the private kingdom he bought. There, they appeared together at events, a striking contrast. A silver-haired billionaire with a weathered face beside a radiant woman in her 20s. This love story wasn't just scandal. It was a reminder. Larry Ellison, abandoned as an infant, spent a lifetime seeking recognition and love. 6 failed marriages didn't stop him. In the end, he chose a love both Part 6, the legacy they leave behind. If one word captures Larry Ellison's legacy, it's Oracle, not the yachts, mansions, or even Lanai, but the software giant he built from a tiny room with $2,000. Oracle, architect of the world's data. Oracle didn't make PCs like Apple or write operating systems like Microsoft. It controlled something deeper: data. In the digital age, data is the new oil, and Oracle turned it into an industry. Banks, hospitals, governments, and militaries need secure, stable databases. Oracle's relational database technology organizes, queries, and protects information at global scale. Oracle laid the groundwork for e-commerce, digital finance, from scandal to the cloud era. After the accounting scandal, Oracle shed its skin through acquisitions: PeopleSoft, Siebel, BEA, Sun Microsystems. It became a comprehensive software empire. As cloud computing rose, Ellison refused to cede the field to Amazon and Microsoft. He poured tens of billions into. Crucially, Oracle didn't just chase cloud. It offered a differentiator: stability and security for massive clients: U.S., government agencies, global banks, defense firms. Quiet but lucrative, this niche helped surpassing Elon Musk. Throughout the 2020 seconds, Elon Musk dominated rich lists with Tesla and SpaceX. But Musk's fortune was volatile. Tesla's stock swung wildly, moving his net worth by tens of billions. Ellison was different. Most of his wealth was tied to Oracle, a company with stable revenue, long-term customers, and less exposure to market mood. As the EV frenzy cooled and Tesla slumped, Oracle writings at peak, Larry Ellison's net worth topped $200 billion, surpassing Elon Musk to become the richest person on Earth. For the child scorned by an adoptive father who said he'd never succeed, it wasn't just a title. Global impact. Ellison's legacy isn't just measured in dollars. Look around. A credit card transaction, an electronic medical record, a defense database all may run on Oracle. In other words, the modern world relies on what tech universities teach Oracle as a standard. Entrepreneurs learn his lessons, dare to take risks, challenge the giants, never accept defeat. A paradoxical legend. Ellison made Oracle a global money machine and himself the richest man alive. Yet what makes him compelling isn't just the numbers, but his paradox. A data genius with a chaotic personal life. An undefeated corporate warrior with 6 failed marriages. An arrogant lightning rod for criticism, who left an indelible. Oracle mirrors Larry Ellison himself. Powerful, intense, imperfect, impossible to. Larry Ellison, an abandoned child raised amid contempt and coldness, rewrote his fate by building a colossal data empire. Oracle didn't just change technology, it lifted him to the summit of wealth, even above Elon Musk. But Ellison's legacy isn't just Forbes rankings. It's the tragic tale of a man who never stopped seeking validation. 6 failed marriages, countless scandals, and long lonely nights on super yachts reveal that outward success never filled the inner void. In old age, he found a shocking love with a wife 47 years younger. Some saw ostentation. Perhaps, for Ellison, it was a final attempt to mend a heart long scarred. His story asks us all, is the price of glory isolation, heartbreak, and public scorn truly worth the triumph? For Larry Ellison, the answer seems to be yes. He didn't live merely to survive. He lived to defy fate. And maybe that's his greatest lesson. You can start from nothing, be dismissed by the world, and still rewrite history with ambition, audacity, and iron will, even if they once stood at the very top. But what happened next? If you want more hidden truths from the ultra-rich, hit subscribe and stay with Hidden